What up, YouTube? So lately, I've been trying to learn more about my craft of YouTubing. And so I asked my Twitch chat, who should I be watching? They resoundingly said CGP Grey. And I remembered them from my time working at Patreon. So on stream, I dove in, I watched a few videos, and lo and behold, they were insane, educational, fun, and I enjoyed them. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, like, leave a comment, send me a message by carrier pigeon, show up my doorstep. Actually, please don't do that. Shouldn't have said that. But the most important thing, enjoy this video. See you on the other side.
Mini interim, as I cannot be here for a full Can's Corner.
Okay.
You could do the diving deep into YouTube yourself.
Ooh. Now, I've never watched a YouTube video, so this is a scary proposition for me.
For a bearded dwarf of Casmodan.
I like trains.
Surely! Ah!
Hey, Apple! What?
I figured we could learn more about someone that you already know a bit about.
Okay.
You've heard about CPG Grey from your Patreon days.
I have heard about CPG Grey from my Patreon page. Yes. We watched his video, video about how you make money on YouTube. You know who I feel is the most interesting, uninteresting person, or who, and I'm going to get roasted. I like to start all these deep dives by saying I don't think your favorite content creator is funny, which is so sick. I love doing that. But when you guys sent me all those Tom Scott videos, and he sent like the bread to space, and chat, this is chat. Whoa, he sent bread to space. And I'm sitting in my chair going, what is happening here? I don't get it. I'm not understanding the artistry of it. And then flashback to chat. Whoa! Fucking just actually pogging out of their mind.
First of all, sending garlic bread to space is not mundane, so fuck you on that regard.
It's a little mundane.
Sorry, when you wake up, you know, you brush your teeth, get out of bed, you send garlic bread to space, you know, that's what everyone does, isn't it?
It feels like a little bit holds up spork, like so quirky. Just send a GoPro to space. That's so fucking sick. It's the same video, but you don't have like the meme of garlic bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm not going to die on the garlic bread hill. I don't think that's Tom Scott's best video. I don't think it was a good.
It's his most viewed video, so the free market says it is.
Yeah. I think CPG Grey does similar content to Tom Scott.
Okay.
In that his content is also informative and finding a very niche thing and making it interesting. You're going to go on their channel. You're going to choose whatever video you think is the most interesting to you, or the least interesting to you, and give it a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, CPG Grey, huh? Just because we got boomed on Tom Scott doesn't mean we're going to get boomed on CPG Grey. Ooh, the simple solution to traffic? I live in Los Angeles. This last weekend, I went to my hometown of Yuma, Arizona. This is starting like an SAT problem. And it should be a nice 4.5-hour drive with 1 hour to San Diego. And it took me almost 3 hours to get from where I am in Los Angeles to San Diego. And I wanted to pull out a gun and shoot myself in the head in a video game, if you know what I mean. I was having a very, very bad time. So maybe we'll start with CPG Grey's most popular video and something that I am moderately interested in by nature of being in a bad traffic area, and check out the simple solution to traffic. Let's just actually grip it, but also rip it.
On green, the first car accelerates, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and then you, only to catch the red. Had the car's coordination, not cars, is the problem, because we are monkey drivers with slow reaction times and short attention spans. Even if we try,
that's me in the car eating a banana.
Getting everyone to press the pedal on 3, 2, 1 now would be challenging.
Damn, it's like, this is perfect because for those of you that watch the gaming channel, youtube.com/StanzButGaming, you know that I'm literally a mini motorways god, a mini motorways savant. I know that roundabouts are actually the most efficient. We should get rid of all of our traffic lights. And so I think that maybe Mr. Grey could use me. Maybe get me in this video. Maybe I could help you out with a little bit of your planning.
But even without intersections, there would still be traffic on the highway. Traffic can just appear. Take a one-lane highway with happy cars flowing until a chicken crosses the road. The driver who sees it brakes a little, the driver behind him doesn't notice immediately and brakes a little harder than necessary. The driver behind him does the same until someone comes to a complete stop.
Traffic.
And oh look, cars approaching at highway speeds must now stop as well. Though the chicken is long gone, it left a phantom intersection on the highway. This is what's happened when you're
I watched a video about this once, and they called it not like a snake, but like they showed a overhead camera video of LA, and there was like a traffic boom like that hit from like the top of the 405 down to the bottom in like Irvine, and it was one actual stop, and it took 7 hours to get down there, like a ripple effect. It was called something about a snake. It was super cool to see.
And this phantom intersection moves. It's really a traffic snake.
Have I watched this fucking video? Am I smoking weed?
Slithering down the road, eating oncoming cars at...
Is there a world where I've seen this? Why did I know about this snake?
one end and pooping them out the other. On a ring road,
if he says that the snake can last 7 hours, I've seen this video.
a single car slowing down will start an ouroboros of traffic that will last forever, even though there's no problem with the road. If the drivers could
Or maybe I watched a video where someone just basically yoinked his whole research and posits.
Now, in multi-lane highways, there needs be no chicken to start gridlock. A driver crossing lanes quickly with cars too close behind is enough to birth a traffic snake that lives for hours and leagues. It's this quick crossing that causes drivers behind to overbrake and begin a chain reaction. But we can make traffic snakes less likely by changing the way we drive. Your goal as a driver is to stay the same distance from the car ahead as from the car behind at all times.
This video is actually so aspirational. Hey, do you think every driver out there is going to be like, I'm going to try and manage this distance and the guy behind me will do the same? Most drivers are fucking watching a YouTube video in one hand, smoking a cigarette in the other, driving with their knees. They don't give a shit about you or the person behind them.
The end. Except, yeah, wishing upon a star that people are better than they are is a terrible solution.
That's what I'm saying!
Every time.
Hell
Instead,
yeah.
what works is a structurally systematized solution, which is exactly what self-driving cars are. Self-driving cars can just be programmed to
I have a self-driving car, chat.
stay in the...
I hate driving, and I'm not that good at it. Most people overestimate their skill in driving. And if that is true about me, then that means saying I'm a bad driver means I'm probably a dog shit driver. So I fucking love that my car manages the right distance behind a car in front of it.
The more self-driving cars at an intersection, the more efficient the intersection gets. A solid lane of self-driving cars vastly increases throughput. Actually, if you ban humans from the road, which we should totally do anyway, you can get rid of the intersection entirely. After all, a traffic light is just a tool for drivers on one road to communicate with drivers on another, poorly and coarsely. Red equals don't go now, we are coming through the intersection. Green equals good to go. But self-driving cars can talk to each other.
Okay, this is some kind of future that I don't believe is possible, even with self-driving cars. Could you imagine being in one of these?
With that kind of coordination. So the
was
real
sick.
simple solution to traffic is no more monkeys driving cars.
No more monkeys driving cars. That was a cute video. I liked that. Oh, maybe we should try this one, Hexagons or the bestagons. It's only a year old, and it is the one that is recommended. So I presume that Lady Grey just assumes this is maybe one of the best videos?
Bees are the best and build only the bestagon, the hexagon. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bees build hexagons because they're hexapods with hexagon eyes. How could they do otherwise?
Is that true? Bees build hexagons because they see in hexagon?
The Humble Bumble has an engineering problem to solve. She makes two things, honey and wax, the former to eat and the latter to contain the former. To make but a little honey, she must visit a lot of flowers, and to make 1 unit of wax, she needs 8 units of honey. Wax is costly for bees in flower terms, and honey is drippy in food terms. So to make a hive that contains the maximum honey while using the minimum wax is royally vital. Thus,
Is this actually like the ultimate solution?
a honeycomb can...
Are hexagons actually the bestagons? I'm so fucking hooked. 42 seconds in, and I am absolutely hooked. Like, why not triangles?
Tiling is covering a surface with a pattern of polygons. There's lots of options because there's lots of polygons. Even the regulars go on and on-agon. Now for bees picking patterns, the more complicated ones obviously use more lines than necessary. That's what complicated means, and thus a honeycomb of that tile would use more wax per honey. So sticking to the simple regulars, there are just 3 that tile tightly: triangle, square, and hexagon. Pentagons are broken hexagons, leaving gaps, same with septagons. Octagons are alright, but they're no hexagon, which leaves the tiling trio which tile differently. A square is a square of squares, which is a square of squares, and so on. Squares tile tidily by basically cheating, covering an infinite plane with an infinite number of parallel lines. Like, wow.
That's not cheating. To be clear, that's not cheating. Squares are just goated. I love squares.
Triangles pull the same trick, dividing themselves down into infinite nothing.
And honestly, dividing themselves into squares, really.
Boring.
Look at this triangle and tell me it's not just trying to be a square. Turn your head a little crooked, and you got a bunch of squares there, baby.
Down into infinite nothing. But not the hexagon, the only regular polygon to tile a plane without resorting to debasing self-division, unlike some squares I could mention. At least triangle is trying to be more geometrically interesting than square, teaming up a bit to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, hexagon! The other shapes can't help it. They just want to be the bestagon. Even some of the irregular...
Oh! Triangles are hexagons!
Like even Cairo tiles, poor pentagons, tile up as best they can to form a lumpy hexagon.
Yo, I kind of like Cairo tiles.
Compete. The hexagon, nobly indivisible, is the bestagon. Max honey, min wax, 3 options. Okay, yes, there's the circle, a shape defined by the least perimeter for the most area, but that only works when you need just 1. Pack circles, and this is the best they can
Look at all that wasted space. Yucky.
do. Look at all that wasted space. Bees use the hexagon because no shape is better to create the maximum area for the minimum wall, and this min-max stat of hexagon is one of the many reasons they show up everywhere, including in the aforementioned bee.
Is that a fucking sea turtle?
Many reasons they show up every.
Chain link fence. Fox shine, but with red dots on it. An Allen wrench for some reason. And these pillars that I assumed were only in video games.
So why aren't your eyes hexagons? Au contraire, mon ami, they are le hexagon. Not on the outside, but on the inside. Your light-catching cells are at the back of your eye in a hexagonal grid for the same reason as bees.
Yo, don't call this hexagonal. This is some ugly ass shit. Yo, those bees have perfect hexagons and the back of my eyes are this fucking crinky dink shit? No shot. Imagine if I had perfect hexagon eyes.
Okay, maybe hexagon as min-maxagon doesn't catch your fancy. Then how about a little mystery, Let us travel to Saturn. Yes, the rings are attention-grabbing, but leave the equator, travel north, and here lies the unexplained, the great hexagon of Saturn.
I feel like I'm actually being gaslit. I feel like I'm going to join the secret space program after this. Is there a great hexagon of Saturn?
Scale? Well, here's the Earth. Oh, here's 6 the Earths. Saturn's hexagon is pretty big. It's a magnificent solar system mystery, and while I'm no space archaeologist, if I was looking for an alien-gifted monolith on the most look-at-me planet under a hexagon beacon with Earth-sized sides, that's where I would start. After all, what aliens would want to make first contact with the nearby monkeys before they became enlightened to pursue the universal truth? Hexagon is the bestagon. When water molecules join together to make a flake, the sturdy shape they prefer is the hexagon. As more molecules join, they extend the flake fractally up. The beauty of the snowflake on the monkey scale is but an extension of the hexagonal perfection on the atomic scale. Okay.
Yeah, that tracks.
Oh, using a pencil? Get ready to have your mind blown about the hexagon here too. The lead. Well, it isn't lead, it's carbon. And you know what carbon atoms think is
I actually learned that on Reddit recently, that there have never been lead pencils. It's not a thing. It's always been carbon, graphite.
The hexagon, pencil
and so when you would buy lead for mechanical pencil, you're just lying to
yourself.
yourself.
When they happen to be in a straight sheet, that's graphene, which happens to be the strongest atomic material in the universe, some of which is in that pencil. When hexagons come together, they form 3-sided joints 120 degrees apart. This, for the least material, is the most mechanically stable arrangement. Pull on one joint and the other 2 equally pull back. Push in and the other 2 are the most able and stable to resist. Now look anew at a tile.
That's actually disgustingly nasty from a physics perspective.
While hexagons are super strong this way, they aren't super strong this way. On a small scale, that
Oh!
Your pencil can break off in layers to leave a mark. But on a big scale, hexagons can be flexible while keeping their strength, letting us construct some totally unreal materials. Print out a grid of hexagons in whatever, from aluminum to cardboard, make a little sandwich, and pow, you've got honeycomb paneling, a redonkulously tear-resistant material that's also super light and flexible. It's used everywhere, but particularly in aviation.
Dude, speaking of flights, I'm watching this show, a documentary on Netflix. I only watched half of it. I started it last night before I went to bed, about how Boeing released this new aircraft, the 737 MAX, and within the first 6 months of being out there with the people, 2 of them crashed. And they crashed because they put this automatic system in that detected when you were going too steep, which would cause a stall, and would automatically pivot the back wings and send it down. And so the pilots were pulling up as hard as they could, and the plane was literally auto-tanking them into the ground, and 2 of them crashed. And Boeing is like, hey, not on us, man. It was on these pilots that suck. And it turns out it was on them, but I'm only halfway through, so I don't know the end. No spoilers.
For centuries, there has been great debate over boards, squares or hexagons. Spoiler, hexagons wins. Square boards are the first thing an unenlightened species would
I like it. They did such a good job of making this caveman look like a simple, sure idiot. You know what I mean? He's sitting there going, oh yeah, I invented the best game. And really, it's only 2 lines. What a beautiful animation.
On a square board, move horizontal or vertical 1 space and you've moved 1 space. But
if you move diagonal, you move 2.
The square root of 2
Or
spaces.
what-
Gross.
yeah.
A square only has 4 true neighbors. Hexagons, however, have 6, which is more than 4, which is better. And the distance from 1 space to the next is the same in every direction. 1 space, just as it should be. If you're a game based on squares, I'm so
I love
sorry,
Civ.
but
Honestly,
there
this game's just making me want to play some Civ. Oh, yeah.
just as we
Yo, is there hexagon chess? That looks cool.
all should aspire to do, spreading order and hexagonal enlightenment, for hexagons are the bestagons. And now that you agree, with your eyes you will see their 6-sided perfection in all things, and you will say to yourself as part of the order, hexagons are the bestagons.
I'm actually, you know what? I went into this thinking like, oh, it's going to be kind of like cringy, like this shape is better than other shapes. But I'm coming out of it going, this shape is actually better than other shapes. He did it. Hexagons are actually just the bestagons. What is the nastiest CGP Grey video? What is one that is making you like change your life? You know what I'm saying? Whenever someone talks about it, you're like, holy shit, I gotta know. A lot of people are saying rules for rulers. This one. Ooh. Okay, we'll do this one. This one seems good.
Do you want to rule? Do you see the problems in your country?
I kind of already rule a little bit my Twitch chat. I can just essentially murder chatters with extreme abandon if I want to. The funny thing is that the lifespan of a human being is so short that acting in selfish ways, like as a non-benevolent ruler like this, is probably just the best thing to do for you. You know what I mean? If you, assuming you extrapolate out like human suffering and being a kind person and what it means to be human, like who really cares if you just extracted all the resources out and then you die? Like, yeah, you did it. You only live for 80 years anyway.
No matter how bright the rays of any sun king, no man rules alone. A king can't build roads alone, can't enforce laws alone, can't defend the nation or himself alone. The power of a king is not to act, but to get others to act on his behalf, using the treasure in his vaults.
I wonder how different this would be if you could theoretically be a god king. Right, the Ozymandias kind of like ruler, or not a, sorry, what was the, Dr. Manhattan, right? If I was a superhero of sorts, if I was Superman, could I theoretically do all of these things? Maybe time is the biggest limiter in building the roads and other things like that.
Now, all countries lie on a spectrum, from those where the ruler needs few key supporters to those where the ruler needs many. This foundation of power is why countries are different. Yet many keys or few, the rules are the same. First, get the key supporters on your side.
Who are my key supporters? I need to get Cants on my side, Midnight. Actually, the crazy thing is I'm sitting up here on the throne, an absolute dunce. The only person I need on my side, and this is not to devalue most of you, although, to be sure, is Midnight. If we get Midnight in here, I think that I can rule the kingdom. I straight up think I can do it. He'll change the title. He'll change the stuff. Cancer's right up there too, but Midnight is truly the man that keeps the kingdom running.
Them, you have the power to act. You have everything. Without them, you have nothing. Now, in order to keep those keys...
I'm like Jon Arryn from Game of Thrones, like the little kid on the throne. I want to see the man fly. I just ban people and eventually laugh at a video. Fucking uh-oh, Stinky the monkey. What do you think the treasure is for chat? Lil W's? Do you think I distribute lol W's to the people effectively?
Being a key to power is a position of power. They too must watch out for rivals from below or above. Thus, the treasure they get must also be spent to maintain their position. The loyal and dim may stay by your side no matter what, but smart key supporters will always watch the balance of power, ready to change allegiance if you look to be the loser in a shifting web of alliances. In countries where the keys are
That's the
fused-
good news, is that you guys can never take over this kingdom. It's just the size of the kingdom can shrink or fall. That's one of the best parts about being a streamer. My kingdom is much like an NFT. Fake and dog shit.
If a key in your court becomes unnecessary, his skills no longer required, you must kick him out. After a successful coup, the new dictator will purge some of those who helped him come to power while working with the underlings of the previous dictator, which from the outside seems a terrible idea.
All I have to do is promise more lil W's than Mizkif, and I am distributing my treasure to the people. This is changing the game.
So the treasure must be split among fewer. A dictator that sways the right keys, takes control of the treasure, cuts unnecessary spending, kills unnecessary...
Unironically, okay, let's be serious for a second. LSF is one of these governors. If you can pay LSF through lil W's or through fucking cold hard cash, they can be your enforcer to make sure that people are only seeing your clips. If this is me, this big money man, the police officer here, is fucking LSF.
No man rules alone, and never more so than in democracy. Presidents and prime ministers must negotiate with their senates and parliaments and vice versa, and they all have their own key supporters to manage. In a well-designed democracy, power is fractured among many and is taken not with force, but with words, meaning you must get thousands or millions of citizens to, if not like you on election day, at least like you better than the alternative.
Man, that is so true about modern elections in the United States, huh? It never ever feels like we're gonna pick this guy. Maybe there was like a glimmer, and I'm not even saying there was more than 50% of that with Obama when he got elected, but it just seems like the other person is dog shit. On both sides, that's all they're screaming. The rallying cry for modern elections is just the other person is an imbecile, right? A lot of people are saying it, or the other person is a scammer, right? Crooked Hillary versus, you know, Donald Trump, who is maybe the least qualified president of all time.
Don't think of citizens as individuals with their individual desires.
This is me to Twitch chat. You're all just one person.
But
Twitch
instead
chat.
as divided into blocks, the elderly or homeowners or business owners or the poor. If a block doesn't vote, such as younger citizens, then no need to divert rewards their way. Even if large in number, they are irrelevant.
I like how young people are like this cool gradient hat. Hey, what up, guys? Just here to vote.
To gaining power, which is good news for you. One less block to sway, and the treasure you give...
That's why it's always the elderly and like evangelical Christians, the two biggest voting blocks, gun owners in the US. Again, and whenever I talk about politics, chat, I'm always talking about the US because I got my political science degree here and I don't know shit about other countries.
Now, enough with thinking about the citizens. Even in a democracy, there still are very influential individual key supporters
George Soros!
you need on your side because their money or influence or favors keeps you in power. While you can't just promise to give them treasure directly as a dictator would, you can
change
create
tax
loopholes
laws
for their investments, pass laws that they've written, or print get out of jail free cards for their actions. Not a wheelbarrow of gold to the door, but contracts for their business. You as a ruler do have roads to build or computers to maintain or buildings to reconstruct. No man rules alone, after all. Or you could take
Damn,
the moral
this one makes me
deconstruct.
sad. No man rules alone
alone.
with the person shaking hands with all the rich people and winking. This is the exact state of American democracy, and it is so unbelievably cringe.
Now, with all this headache of being a representative, you may wonder, looking at Rule 3, why couldn't you skip all this block-building, favor-trading nonsense and just bribe the army to take power? We must finally turn to...
Well, I mean, theoretically you could, right? Doesn't that happen in countries?
You, aspiring ruler, may be disgusted by the world of politics and have decided to avoid it entirely. But you cannot, for rulers...
Oh, then you're giving up your key. Your key may be small, chat, but you are part of a slightly larger voting bloc.
From the CEO of the largest global corporate conglomerate who must keep his board happy to the chair of the smallest homeowners association, managing votes and spending membership fees. You cannot escape structures of power. You can only turn a blind eye to understanding them.
Great video. That was actually a great video. All of his videos have so far been great, but I really enjoyed that one. It felt like a nice digestible way to figure that out. Much like Seinfeld is not actually a show about nothing, but a show about everything, nothing he has talked about is uninteresting. I think that every video on there is extremely interesting. And that we say it's uninteresting as a way to like put it in a basket of it's not, whoa, what up invaders? I'm going to prank people by putting a bomb in their backpack. You know what I mean? Like Traffic is fucking interesting. Ruling is super interesting. Shape theory on what's strong, super duper interesting, right? So I really like it. I like this channel. I'm super down.